Hello, Transurfers and the Transurfing Curious. I am Renee Garcia, and this is TransurfingTV, the only YouTube channel endorsed by Vadim Zeland himself. So today is going to be a little bit of an interesting lesson. I saw a question on the International Transurfing Institute Facebook group asking people how they have altered their appearance via reality transurfing. And I myself have experienced some pretty drastic results physically with my appearance since transurfing. I have a few theories on exactly why this has happened for me, and then also, which I will give you now, and then also I will go over a few of the things that Vadim has said about appearance in the transurfing book. So remember my concept, my idea that there are an infinite number of lifelines and versions of you. Okay, so I believe in my own experience, two things are happening here that have attributed, that are attributed to me looking 10 years younger than I did, let's say, even 10 years ago. So I just turned 40. When I was 30, I probably looked about 10 years older than I look now. So I am actually, in my eyes, I am reversing the signs of aging. I'm the slimmest I've been since high school. I weigh the same amount that I weighed in high school. My skin is visually starting to look younger. I've had a lot of people ask me why I'm sort of reversing and aging. I think maybe some people have noticed my physical change in the last 5 years from when people started following me. 5 years ago, I look quite a bit different, but primarily I look younger than I did even 5 years ago. So remember, there are an infinite number of lifelines, an infinite number of versions of you. And with transurfing, what we are striving to achieve is we're striving to achieve sort of our highest lifeline, our highest life track, therefore a higher version of ourselves. So we all have the ability to look and feel a certain way, physically, internally, right? Again, this is the highest version of yourself. And as you use these concepts, as you utilize these concepts, you can achieve this higher state of self where you are in the best health, right? This can be used for health issues as well, trying to connect with a healed, higher version of yourself mentally first so you can transurf your way to that track. For those of you that did not watch my weight loss video, I gave a whole video on just weight loss with transurfing, and my theory behind this, the weight loss with transurfing, is that you can, regardless of if you were high or low on your tracks, you can connect via transurfing with an older version of yourself that weighed the weight that you like. So what I did was I put my mind back into the same place that my mind was when I was 17 years old. I started doing the things that I did when I was 17. I started eating again the same way that I did when I was 17. My metabolism sped up, and I connected, or reconnected, if you will, with that older version of myself, and I actually started to look younger. I know this sounds crazy, but again, for those of you that have followed me for the last 5 years, you'll probably remember I looked a bit different when I started this 5 years ago. Another thing that I like to talk about is the removal of your layered programming. So if you ever have an opportunity to go somewhere where there's a lot of people and just sit and watch a big group of people, maybe people locally to you or when you're out traveling, you can start to notice some similarities in appearance. And what I believe this is this is an accumulation of information and programming that literally affects a person's appearance. So I will give you an example of where I live. This is an extreme example. I know that yours might be a little bit different wherever you are. But in my hometown where I live now, there are not women that look like me. They're all much, much heavier. A lot of them have not taken care of themselves. There's a lot of drug abuse where I'm from. So all of that information that's sort of floating around my environment, fast food restaurants, not a lot of opportunities to get out and really get some exercise. I mean, we have a running trail here, but really this isn't a place that nurtures really positive health. And if I go out into the public and I start looking around, I can see a lot of similarities in the people regionally around here. And there's a similar look that starts to transpire, I think. And the more time spent in an environment, the more programming, the more information is layered on top of a person individually. So when you decide that it's time to wake up, you decide that you want to start creating a new reality, becoming healthier, maybe start thinking in your own direction and not in the direction of the pendulum any longer, some of those layers will start to come off of you and you will look different. I'm sure you can call as an example maybe celebrities or people that you've seen that have changed their appearance drastically. And I think that this really is a removal of information and programming that causes a person to maybe revert back to how they were previously before this information started to layer on top of a person. I know this sounds a little bit woo-woo, but I'm trying my best to break it down as I have seen it happen with myself and as I have noticed it happen with other people. Importance levels. This is another one. When I had really, really high importance levels on things, I feel that it made me look older. It made me look aged. It made me look tired. And as I lessened my importance levels and I started to drop importance on a lot of things, including my looks, right? Because remember, we always get what we actively don't want. So if we're overly focused on gaining weight and we're overly focused on aging, we are going to get that exact thing that we didn't want. So I have actually been less concerned this last 5 years with my appearance, and not only in dropping importance on myself physically have I seen the results, but also just dropping importance on other things that were causing me stress in general have sort of lifted up the way that I look, and I feel kind of have given me a more youthful appearance. Because remember, I mean, kids don't have a lot of importance, and obviously we're not striving to look like children again, but there is a youthful glow that can be replenished to you if you decide, and if this is what you choose. I mean, this is just my take on it. I'm really curious to hear your guys' comments on this one. Choosing your things. This is a huge concept in reality transurfing because this is really connected on choosing your things on a small scale is in a much bigger scale heart and mind coordination. So remember, heart and mind coordination is when our soul agrees and our mind agrees, and we can see very clearly what things are intended for us via our goals and doors. Okay, so choosing your things is a small version, a small example of this. When you can spot what is intended for you. And Vadim talks about this in regards to fashion. When you can spot what is intended for you personally, this shows outwardly. This is you connecting to your soul frail, and this is you detaching from pendulums. So an example, fashion world, we all feel somewhat influenced to adhere to certain fashions, right? Things that are going on that are popular. Now, you can do that if that thing is, you can adhere to those things if they are intended for you. But a lot of times what happens is that pendulum gets a hold of you and really you become something you're not, right? People that are adhering to strict fashion trends, they're not living their soul frail. When you can start to pick things, even just bits of clothing or a haircut that's suited for you, right? This is you tuning in to what is intended for you. You will show this outwardly with an attractive appearance or maybe a changing appearance if you haven't been connected to this concept. And this is your ability to practice this thing in a smaller scale so you can start choosing bigger and better things for you that are more like, you know, goals, professions, big life changes, a new lifestyle, all that sort of stuff. So really, there's not a ton to say on this topic. Vadim does go into food a lot in some of the later transurfing books. I will tell you all this. What he told me when we had lunch together and he asked me what my diet was like, and I asked him in turn. He said that he eats only fruit for breakfast, fruit and vegetables for lunch, and then anything for dinner, but not meat. So he is a vegetarian. I do believe he eats dairy. He does adhere to his raw diet for the first 2 meals of the day. And I don't know what your all beliefs are on this. I have my own beliefs that that belief system of raw food doesn't quite work for me. I have my own thing. But again, it's about finding what works for you and choosing your things. So to wrap this up, if you are feeling like you are aging rapidly, or you're not looking your best, or you want to rejuvenate your appearance, start looking at importance levels. Start thinking about what information you could eliminate from your reality that may make you look a little bit more alive. Start connecting with an older version of yourself if you want to lose weight. Again, acting like you did when you were a teenager or a young adult, your level of exercise, how you thought and felt about yourself, what you ate, when you ate, all that sort of stuff. So I know this lesson is a little all over the place. I'm curious to hear your take on it. And yes, please check out that video specifically on weight loss if you have not already. It's a good one. And let me know if you see any results. I took this this little practice that I created on weight loss. I did it and I lost about 10 pounds super fast, and it did work for me. So I'm curious. I have not yet heard of it working for anybody else or anybody else that has tried it, but this is what has worked for me. So please subscribe here if you have not already, and join us on the International Transurfing Institute Facebook group for conversations like this and others. Thanks, guys. Bye.